Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition has been out for almost 8 years, and it is well documented at this point what the strongest and most powerful feats in the game are. Everyone is aware that you should be taking Lucky and Sentinel.
Warcaster.
There's a handful of them that people will always take over and over again. The rest of them are deemed to be
Poopy.
They're a trap. People will be like, don't take that. It's a trap for your character.
Yeah, they say that a lot.
What does it mean that it's a trap?
A feat literally costs ASI, or ability score increase, which you get at certain levels in your class. You're paying for something, and it's kind of a trap if you invest something into a feat, and it's situational.
The other thing is that most of the most powerful feats in 5th edition tend to be very combat-heavy things, like Great Weapon Master, Sharpshooter, Warcaster helps you keep your concentration spells up, things of that nature. Those are what have been deemed the powerful ones because combat is typically the pillar that most people focus on when they're talking about anything strategy or tactics-wise or character building in 5th edition.
And then when they're not in combat, they're focusing on things like their perception, their AC, especially when dungeon diving, going through traps, having their high AC, having their high perception is just going to make them immune to literally everything while they're dungeoning. And that's their answer to everything that happens outside of combat.
Correct. So again, most people focus on these very tangible things that can't be argued by the dungeon master. Be like, this is what the feat does. You're going to get that boost, and that's it. And your player is very happy with it because they know it's going to make them better. They know it's going to make their character better. But what about the feats that fall in between? The ones that might be a little underrated, a little underappreciated. They may require you to ask the dungeon master for a little wiggle room on things. We think we've come up with a little short list of some really underappreciated feats that you can use in Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. Don't blame us if you take one of these feats and your dungeon master doesn't let you do any of the stuff that we recommend.
That's kind of the point. For instance, you want to choose Spell Sniper. However, your dungeon master just makes a ton of small, close quarters battle maps within a dungeon, right? No bigger than maybe 50 feet each. Are you really benefiting from Spell Sniper at all? Whereas you're going to have a better time with Spell Sniper if you have a DM that is like Theater of the Mind. The DM explains the situation where you guys are far away from the enemy, but you have a shot and gives you that instance to use it. Is there a feat that you choose all the time that you think other people are sleeping on? Let us know.
Yeah.
Player's Handbook 165. A feat represents a talent or area of expertise that gives a player special capabilities. It embodies training, experience, and abilities beyond what a class provides.
So with that in mind, we want you to understand that feats are powerful. Feats are something that should make your character class feel special. They're one of the only ways in 5th edition that you can actually make your character unique and different from other subclasses. If two people were playing a rogue arcane trickster, besides the spells you take, you're going to get the same exact abilities. This is the only way, besides multiclassing, to really give your character some flavor and special abilities as well. So the first feat that we're going to be talking about today is the Actor feat from the Player's Handbook, which normally just gives you a boost to your charisma. So while you're trying to deceive them or put on a performance or something, you can really just be like, you can embody somebody. It's almost like a Kenku at this point.
Yeah, this allows you to be Mystique from X-Men.
Yes.
The Pretender.
So why are we highlighting this seemingly innocuous feat? And I will tell you, if you're a bard or you're a rogue and you have expertise lets you double your proficiency in a specific skill. So if you put this into performance and deception, so not only do you get double your proficiency in these skills, you're also going to have advantage while you're rolling them. With a disguise kit or a wizard that casts a spell on you to make you look like somebody else, the possibilities are nearly endless. You can do so much cool and really crazy stuff if you're trying to get information out of people in a non-lethal way.
You get that advantage on deception and performance while you're playing this role.
Correct.
So
it encourages you to
keep doing it. Be somebody different.
Yes.
Everywhere you go.
Yep. You're Dark Man. You're just putting on different faces all the time.
Skin suiting every day.
That's it. But think about it. You could, if you study the Goblin King or something, you could literally infiltrate a lair of goblins and pretend to be their leader. You could infiltrate the king's court by trying to be his right-hand advisor. All you have to do is study them for a little bit. Then you use your disguise kit or your illusion spells. You look like them. This makes you an undercover cop, really. Mm-hmm. And when you're that deep undercover, sure, you have super high proficiency checks, but there's always that chance you're going to roll a 1, right?
Yeah.
Having that advantage
or
on
2
those,
below 10.
Yeah. So having advantage on those rolls, especially like as your dungeon master is going to be sort of ratcheting up the difficulty to increase that tension, that's really going to make actor pop off.
Mm-hmm. Especially if roleplay is a good 33% of a pillar in your game. That's an incredible feat to take for the cost. The next feat we have is Inspiring Leader. Inspiring Leader is pretty good for your first combat out of a short rest, or your first combat out of some downtime. You spend 10 minutes, you pep them up with a pep talk, and they get temporary hit points equal to your level and your charisma modifier.
Seems pretty basic, seems kind of, meh.
Your first time using it, you're going to be like Braveheart giving out that, crazy speech. You're going to be like the leader of Rohan. Tonight we ride, and then what's going to happen is it's a great ability to use every time you have some downtime. Every time you have 10 minutes, you're going to want to try to use this.
Sure.
It's great, right? But then you start to lose the impact of the actual role play you're doing to inspire your companions, right?
That's the mechanics behind Inspiring Leader. But if you sort of dig a little bit beneath the surface, and it's one of these things where you're going to start asking your dungeon master to tweak things, you're inspiring. You're literally like a William Wallace type character. People want to be like you. They want to listen to you. For whatever reason, maybe it's your charming good looks, your bulging muscles.
Dude, I could just stare and look at you for 10 minutes. I'm inspired.
It's like a glamour spell.
He's just working out, stretching before battle, 10 minutes before.
Just big leg stretches. At my age, you need them. So you could actually start asking your dungeon master, be like, hey, we're down in this dungeon, and there's this faction of dragon people, and then there's this faction of turtle people. Turtles and dragonborns, they're down there and they hate each other. Well, maybe you befriend one faction. Rather than risk the party going down there and fight the other faction, you're like, I'm going to inspire these guys to go kill them on our behalf. You become friends with them. You're like, I'm going to inspire them into battle. And, Dungeon Master, give 6 of them some bonus hit points.
Yeah.
They run off and they try to go kill somebody.
You could even say, could I have proficiency on this persuasion check? Mm-hmm. Because I have Inspiring Leader.
Sure.
That's a great question to ask. Mm-hmm. Proficiency at lower levels, it scales with you. Adding +5 to a roll is just as good as having advantage. It's that 75% chance,
sure.
Right? You need to come up with more situations to use these things. Because when you take ASI, ability score increase, you're always using that. You put 2 points into your base stats, and those 2 points are pretty damn great. They add to your to hit and your AC and your ability to defend against things and your damage.
Everything.
Boosts so much,
sure.
All the time. So when you're coming up with feats that have situational circumstances, try to engage in more situational circumstances by asking questions to your Dungeon Master. Make sure you use this as an argument when you're talking to your Dungeon Master. I spent points. I spent ability score points on this feat that I would like to incorporate more into my character.
Yep. So how often does the following situation come up? Everybody strolls into the campaign, nobody discussed their characters beforehand, and you find out that there's no clerics, there's no bards, there's nobody that can actually do anything that will heal, right? And then one person feels obligated to take Healing Word or Cure Wounds. So instead, we have the healer feat. We have this feat that you can take that will sort of turn you into a field medic, right?
As an action, you're able to use like a trauma kit or some kind of medical kit to heal a party member, an ally, for 1d6 plus a base 4, plus that character's max hit dice number. A bit of math there, but if you're always remembering it, you're always using it, 1d6, 4, and then you start memorizing your party's max hit die numbers, which is typically
Just your level.
your level, plus 1. Right?
Plus 1, yeah.
So, and then you can also use it as, like we said, a trauma kit, where if someone's at 0 hit points, you use it on them, they get 1 HP, they're revived, they're conscious again.
Yeah, typically if you stabilize somebody, they don't actually gain a hit point. With this, it lets you do that.
This one does.
Nice little boost. You're this healer. Maybe it's a holistic, natural healer. Maybe you're very good at finding stuff out in nature. Or on top of that, you know which stuff to go into town and buy. As a healer, I would constantly be arguing for things like, oh, how did this person die? I want to be able to investigate their wounds.
Make medicine checks. Look at blood on the floor and take magical swabs and...
Yeah, you could be like the forensics guy, really.
Yeah.
You'd be like, the trajectory of this blood splatter would mean that he was killed here and this happened. Sure, I would
There's
allow
carbon
that.
scoring on the wall from the lightning blast that hit.
Or maybe you could detect that someone was poisoned. You would know these sorts of things. As a healer, as somebody that tends to people's bodies to try to keep them in peak physical condition and healthy.
I went to med school for a semester. I don't know.
I dated a chick who was a nurse.
Yes! Next up, the Tavern Brawler. Throw whatever's around you and throwing punches and just going hog wild. Wherever you are, wherever there's a drink. Throw the drink. Tavern Brawler increases your unarmed to 1d4. It gives you proficiency with improvised weapons, whatever the hell's around you.
Everything and
The chair, the table, a piece of wood splinter from the table. And then, on top of that, if you hit something or someone with it, you can use a bonus action to grapple somebody. So you're punching and throwing things and grappling. I like, at least, that you get 1 ASI on top of this. You get the opportunity to add strength or 1 to strength or constitution. But we're going to figure out some additional ways to incorporate the Tavern Brawler into our character. This is just what we're used to. We grew up in a town where this happened every night at the tavern.
If we're in a dungeon and I'm fighting a skeleton, with one of my actions, I'm going to rip off its arm. On my next turn, I'm going to beat him over the head with his humerus bone. Smash him in the skull with it.
Hit him with a femur with another femur that was lying on the ground.
That's it. The thing you need to really do is make sure that your dungeon master is giving you appropriate damage dice for these improvised weapons. Yeah, sure, if you stab somebody with a fork, they're probably just going to give you a 1d4.
Yeah.
Just lean into it. You know, if you're smashing someone over the head with a friggin' tombstone, make that thing like a d12, man. Yeah. I just really get a kick out of this character that can just, no matter where they are, you're never safe. You're locked in a prison cell, you're like, I'm just going to get a loose stone out of here, and when that guard comes here, I'm just going to bludgeon him over the back of his head and knock him out.
You're not reliant on weapons.
No, you're not.
Like, that's what it should be,
Yeah.
right? Walking tall with the rock, and you just walk around with a 2x4. Next campaign I run, I want you to do a Tavern Brawler,
And you'll make all my wildest dreams come true.
Yeah.
For our final feat in this video, I begged Kamo to let me put this in the list. Everyone hates this feat. They think it's a trap. They think it's stupid. I happen to love it. Maybe it's because I like to cook, but I think that the chef's feat... Don't turn off the video. Don't turn off the video. Come back. I think that there is an incredibly hidden value to the chef feat. I honestly and truly believe that.
Sure there is.
You'll have to ask your dungeon master to be able to get away with some of the things that I'm going to suggest. So what does this feat actually do? It does give you an ASI improvement to either Constitution or Wisdom, which is good. It's always something, right? The other thing that it lets you do is during a short rest, you can prepare a little meal that is going to boost everyone's healing. So on top of rolling their hit dice, you get an extra 1d8 on top of that because you cooked a little delectable meal that everybody happened to love. And it warmed their souls to the point where they actually healed themselves somehow. And finally, it lets you create these little Scooby snacks, which I think for a bonus action someone can consume, and they heal like 2 points of damage or something stupid.
Was it 10 hit points? Yeah, it is. So you make a treat, they eat it, they get your proficiency bonus in temp HP. So just tape the Scooby snacks all over to your body, you get the temp HP. If someone hits you with a sword, they crack a Scooby snack, you're safe.
That's exactly how it works. Yeah. None of that stuff really matters to me. I don't care about any of that. The real reason that I'm taking chef is because you get proficiency in like cooking tools or whatever, but you're a chef, you're a goddamn chef, okay? Think of all the possibilities you could do as a chef. Say there's a portly mayor that you need to win over their affection. You decide to host a feast for them. You're going to completely woo and have this guy become your best friend. That's just one thing you can do.
One thing you can ask your dungeon master if you can do.
It's going to get weirder.
So do you think on top of Darth Vader taking Sith Lord as a class, he was like, chef feat. You know how in Bespin he has that giant table prepared of meal to sit down with the rebels? I just love thinking of him cooking all of it for them.
All of it. And he's just, that's what really tips him over the edge. He's like, I'm going to kill my own son. Perhaps there's an NPC that you need to break out of prison. So what you do is you use your chef abilities to create a stew, and then you have the rogue go and get a sleeping potion / poisony thing, and then you are able to imbue that into this stew.
Use your proficiency to mask the flavor of the poison.
There's no scent, there's no flavor. You could do so much cool stuff with poisons and sleeping potions. You could be a madman. You're just a crazy chef. Okay, I know. Hear me out. Here's my final pitch for chef. Imagine that you're a wizard and you've taken chef as a feat. Or maybe you're a variant human. You know, you took it right at level 1. So maybe you can start imbuing your foods and dishes with spells. You can start doing crazy stuff.
Ask your DM first.
Never. Say that the party learns of a Knoll warband that's terrorizing the local trade route. You guys know where their outpost is. But you being this fancy-ass chef wizard, you come up with an idea that you're going to make a bunch of meat pies, right? And what you're going to do is you're going to imbue every single one of those meat pies with fireball spells. You don't
think after the first one goes off, they're going to get the hint?
No, it's not going to work like that.
Oh, okay.
So tell the DM, because he's going to be shifty-eyed. He's going to be giving you the old smell what the rock is cooking with.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm dumping all my spell slots into these pies. I got no spell slots left for the day.
Light coming out of the cave. Pop, 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 pop.
Bodies and blood everywhere. I love the chef feat. I think you could do amazingly dastardly things with it. Please, just try it. Convince your dungeon master. Send them this video.
Help me.
Send them this video and tell them that the basic liches said it was okay. That's the rule of cool. I want my players doing awesome stuff. We hope you learned something from this video. 1, work over your dungeon masters. With these feats, yes, they are very you need to be pushing the envelope. You need to be like, hey, I want this to be featured as part of my players' action economy and cool things that they can do. I've written it down next to my features and all this other stuff. God damn it, I want to be able to do it. We know that 5th edition works best when the heroes are mighty, the magic is flowing, and the threats are massive. That's when it's at its best. If you like what we're doing, please like the video.
I like you guys, so like us.
Give us a comment. We try really hard to make these things awesome for you guys, and we would appreciate, and definitely share it with, if you think this would help one of your players or your dungeon master that's really stingy with feats, share this video with them. Just spread it all over their social medias.
Spread the rule of cool. Subscribe for more content weekly. We love you guys. We'll catch you next time.
New video. Here.
Subscribe. Here.
Peace out.
We would be honored if you would join us.